Hi, I'm Robert LeBryan. Welcome to Catholic Moment. If you're like me, you came of age in the 80s and 90s with the ubiquitous running shoe slogan of just do it. And what the shoe company was telling us to do was to stop talking and get off the sofa, get off the couch, and do something about our physical fitness goals. And in the meanwhile, we should do it in their shoes. Now, this slogan of just do it always reminds me of Mary's final recorded words in the Gospels of, do whatever he tells you. Now, in her own way, Mary wasn't telling us to do anything about our physical fitness goals, but what Mary was telling us to do was to stop talking, get up off the couch, and do something about our spiritual goals. To fully understand Mary's words of do whatever he tells you, we need to put them into context. We need to put them into the context of Christ's first miracle at the wedding feast at Cana. And now it's actually quite significant that Mary says these words, do whatever he tells you, at the wedding feast of Cana, because Jesus always spoke about his relationship with us, his church, as a spousal relationship. And he always spoke about how he was and he is the bridegroom who loves us, his church, his bride. Now Mary said these words, do whatever he tells you, on the third day of the wedding feast at Cana. And again, here there's great significance in the notion of the third day. For Abraham and Isaac took 3 days to journey to the mountain of sacrifice that would prefigure Christ's sacrifice at Calvary. And Jonah, it reminds us of Jonah spending 3 days in the belly of the whale, which in and of itself also prefigured and ultimately takes us to Christ's 3 days in the tomb between his death and his resurrection. Now, the links between the wedding feast of Cana and these words of Mary, do whatever he tells you, and the passion, death, and resurrection of Jesus doesn't stop there. Or it was on the third day of the wedding feast of Cana that they ran out of wine, something that's catastrophic at any party. And Mary went to Jesus, she went to her son, who was also there at the wedding with his disciples, and said, they have no more wine. And although Jesus was reticent at the beginning to have anything to do with this problem, we all know how the story ends. That Jesus has the servants fill jugs with water, which he changes into the choicest of wine. I'm just going to let you think about that for a moment. Jesus takes water that's the cleansing water of our baptism, water that cleanses us from sin, and he changes this water, this cleansing water, into the choicest of wines, which 3 years later, he takes the choicest of wines and he changes into his life-saving blood, the blood of salvation. And there's the link. When Mary comes to Jesus and says they have no wine, what she's saying to him is they have no pathway to salvation. And that's why Jesus answers, what concern of this is ours? My hour has not yet come. Because Jesus knew the hour of salvation was not quite yet at hand. And so when Mary says that they have no wine, she's saying they have no way to salvation. And herein lies the wisdom of Mary's words, do whatever he tells you, because sometimes we're not able to see what's good for us, even when it's right before our eyes. And even though Christ, the Messiah, the Son of God, was present there, he could not be seen. And so Mary tells the servants, do whatever he tells you. And in doing whatever Jesus told the servants, by filling the jugs with water, lo and behold, there was wine. Lo and behold, there was a pathway to salvation. Now, when Mary tells us, do whatever he tells you, she's not asking us to listen to Jesus and get some jugs and fill them with water and he'll come by our place and he'll change them into wine. I mean, again, if you're like me and you enjoy a really nice Syrah or Merlot, hey, that would be fantastic. But Jesus is talking to us metaphorically, and we're to fill our souls. We're to fill these earthen vessels with the waters of our baptism. And so being filled with the waters of our baptism, Christ is able to change us, to transform us, to sanctify us and to save us. Do whatever he tells you. Listen to the words of Christ. Read the words of Jesus in the Gospels and ponder them in your heart as Mary did, so that you can be filled with Christ's wisdom, so that he can change you, so that he can sanctify you, so that he can save you. Do whatever he tells you. Listen to the Holy Spirit in prayer. Invite him into the silence of your heart, so that you can be filled with the wisdom of God, so that Jesus again can change you, can transform you, can sanctify you, and he can save you. This really is the pinnacle of Mary's wisdom for us, the wisdom of a mother. Do whatever he tells you. Do whatever Christ tells you. And how do we know what Christ is telling us? Through prayer. By growing in relationship with him, to say to Jesus in prayer, "Speak, Lord, your servant is listening." And this is exactly what we'll contemplate the next time we come together in a Catholic moment, as to how to listen when God is speaking, to borrow a phrase from Father Mitch Pacwa. Until that time, my prayer is that God may both bless and protect you and your families. I'm Robert LeBlanc, and this has been A Catholic Moment.